John O'Naylor.
Chairman. Firstly, can I just start by acknowledging and thanking the members of the New Zealand First Caucus for outlining exactly why it would be a really good reason to change the New Zealand flag. I note that on their boxes they've got the current New Zealand flag, but in case people get it mixed up with the Australian flag, they've written New Zealand on it. And I just think that's outstanding of them, because obviously they know that there was a possibility that it could get mixed up with the Australian flag. So just to make sure people don't think they're from Australia first, they've put New Zealand on there so everybody knows that it is the New Zealand flag. So I think that was very good of them to be able to help reinforce the rationale and the reason as to why we might want to have a look at this. Mr Chairman, it's been quite interesting hearing some of the thoughts that have been coming from across the House today with regard to this referendum. And particularly from the members from Labor, it's been kind of hard to a certain degree to get a real understanding of what it is they actually want. Because this is what we've heard from the Labor Party thus far. They back full consultation on the flag and having a referendum. Second thing they want to do is abandon the referendum because it's completely a waste of money. But the third thing they want to do is keep the order of the referendums but require a minimum turnout. Oh, but wait, no, they want to reverse the order of the referendums. But finally, the last thing they did come up with recently was let's ditch the flag referendum and change the anthem. Well, that's the kind of diverse views that we're getting from across the other side of the House. They don't seem to make up their mind what it is they want to do. Perhaps they could go back to their own policy, and policy 2014 leading into the election, and under the title New Zealand flag, the New Zealand Labor Party said, we believe that the time has come for a change, and it is right for the issue to be put to the public. Now that, Mr Chair, is actually the policy of the Labor Party. And so when I hear from the other side that this is just, I think vanity project is the term that keeps getting thrown around. This is the Prime Minister's vanity project. Oh, it's just a vanity project. Just a Whose vanity project is it in the Labor Party when you decided to put it in your Chair, put it in their policy, when they decided to put it in their policy that the time has come for change and that the public should be involved? Whose vanity in the Labor Party is it for them? Because they keep telling us that changing the flag is simply a vanity project, and all I'm hearing from them is that they want to. Anyway, Mr Speaker, Mr Chair, sorry, I will come back to the purpose. And the purpose for this is for the provision of 2 referendums, and it seems like there's obviously 2 ways you can say that. And I'd like to thank Mr Lees-Galloway for pointing out that probably I should have done Year 13 English, and I might have been a little bit better equipped to deal with whether it's referenda or referendums. I can read the bill. At the end of the day, the idea is that we have 2 referendums. And before the first speaker actually in this debate was Jacinda Ardern. And she invited me to explain to her why it is that we need to have 2. Now, she challenged me to say it's because the people of New Zealand aren't bright enough to deal with it. Now, I'm not going to say that, Mr Speaker, because I've got absolute faith in the voting public of New Zealand, because in September of last year, they returned this national government back for a 3rd term. So I've got very good confidence in the voting public of New Zealand, because they have shown 3 times in a row just exactly what sort of a government they would want to have. But the reason and the rationale for having 2 referendums, the reason for putting them in this order, to me, is plain and simple. There are a lot of people out there who are open to the idea of changing the New Zealand flag. I'm one of them. My son is one of them. Other people I've talked to are in the same boat. But it's totally dependent. It is. People on that side of the House wanted to understand why we have 2, so I'll just explain it to them very slowly and very carefully. There are a lot of people, yes, a lot of people who are willing to change the flag or are open to a change of flag, but it depends on what it will be changed to. So, like, for myself, I'm not prepared to engage in a yes-no vote until I know what the alternative is. And I know there are many other people who are not prepared to vote until they know what the alternative is. Now, by having 2, we allow everybody in New Zealand, the people who are dead against changing the flag, those who are definitely for changing the flag and those who are open to it, to be able to participate fully in the process. And so what we have, Mr. Chair, is Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. What we have is everybody, as I was saying, able to participate fully, whether they're dead against, absolutely for changing the flag, or open to changing it. Because those people who want to change the flag, no matter what, will get to vote in the second referendum. Those people who want to not change it, no matter what, will get their say in the second referendum. And those people who are interested in what the alternatives will first of all cast their vote in the preferential vote in the first referendum, and then when the opportunity comes, when we put one flag up, a proposed new flag up against the old flag, everybody gets to have a vote. Now, Mr. Chairman, I can only anticipate that the members opposite and those people who want to cut it down simply want to eliminate those people who have yet to make up their mind from the process. Because if you do a yes-no question up front, you have eliminated those people who have yet to make up their mind based on what the alternative will be from the process. Now, that seems to me to be undemocratic. That would be like, actually calling a snap election and saying, if you haven't made up your mind by Friday, you won't be allowed to vote. That's pretty much what they're saying when they are putting forward this proposal. It was being proposed also by Mr O'Rourke beforehand that there be a minimum participation rate of 25%. Because if we get less than 25% of people taking part in the vote, then therefore it can't be deemed to be, people aren't interested enough. Well, I'm sitting there thinking there are some political parties in this parliament who have less than 25%. And so if we're going to say to those people that perhaps those people shouldn't be there as well. I mean, as soon as you start getting into thresholds for voting, Mr. Chair, you get onto very dangerous territory. At what point? What is it? It's 25. Why 25%? Why not 50%? Why not 5%? Why not 67%? It's a number that's been plucked out of the air. If you really wanted to say 25% is the measure of participation, even local government elections get 30-odd%. So it seems bizarre that 25% would be the threshold. Mr. Chairman, overall, this is a very good process. It is a process that allows everybody in New Zealand to participate. And we've heard so far from members opposite about the thousands of people who participated, who sent in submissions to the Select Committee who were against changing the flag. What we've also had, Mr. Chairman, is a whole lot of people who have been on to the website and had a look at it. There's been a whole lot of people who have put forward different proposals. And yes, some of those proposals are a little bit ridiculous. Some of them are people having a bit of fun. But you know what? It's people getting engaged in the process of government. It's people getting engaged in deciding about the future of their nation. And I can tell you, Mr. Chairman, that the members on this side of the House are absolutely keen to see what the people of New Zealand think about this. It's been highlighted. I highlighted it yesterday as well. No, New Zealanders have never gotten to choose their flag before. And it may well be through this process that New Zealanders choose the existing flag. And if they do, I say all power to them, because actually what has happened is there's been a democratic process that they get to choose. But guess what? If they chose to change it as well, that will be what the people of New Zealand have decided. Mr. Chairman, last time I checked, New Zealand was a democratic nation. It was one that valued the thoughts and views of its people, and this is a process that will do it. The purpose of this bill is very sound. The way that we're going to implement it is very sound, and I absolutely look forward to seeing just how it is that this turns out. I will be watching with interest. I can't wait to see the 4 options that come up, and I'll be putting my ranking alongside them, and then we'll get to choose in March next year or thereabouts, April, I'm not quite sure exactly which one, but around that time we will get to decide as a nation. And I only hope that we actually start to get people, even if they didn't want to change it, get behind New Zealand, go forward with New Zealand, because this is what this country is all about. It's been a good process. We've heard people talk about a waste of money. Well, I say, actually, this has been a great debate because we're talking about what's important in New Zealand. We've got New Zealanders talking about what's important to them. We've got New Zealanders helping to decide how the New Zealand they want is reflected in their national symbol, and I'm looking forward to the outcome. Mr. Chair, thank you very much.